Good morning and happy Monday. Thank you so much for joining us here at 6 a.m. I'm Chris Groh.
And I'm Nada Iranpour. Hopefully you had a nice weekend out there. Happy Father's Day to everybody who's celebrating. Let's see what's going on with our weather for the week. I would love a repeat of yesterday. It was nice.
We will get it. Absolutely. It should be a really mild upcoming week, especially by the coastline. But east of the coast, moving toward our valley floors, we're going to start to really see a temperature warm up over the next few days. Tuesday to Thursday, we're expecting extreme heat farther east of our valleys around the mountains and deserts. You can see what that looks like today. Not too bad out by the water. 70 close to the water. 78 as you start to make your way east of the 5, especially east of the 15 and the 805. You'll start to really jump in to the 80s this afternoon. Mountains are going for 84 on average, and for the deserts, 106 into the afternoon stretch. Going to be pretty warm out there. You can see this ridge of high pressure starting to amplify. That's going to bring us warmer and warmer temperatures for Tuesday and Wednesday, starting to lose that heat by the end of the week. So coming up, we'll talk about that warming trend that kicks in for the next couple days, about the next 48 hours, and then a cooling trend beyond that that'll take us to a much more comfortable and mild upcoming weekend. We'll also get a check of what our roads look like coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Okay, Evan, thank you so much. And now, could the man convicted in the deadly Santana High School shooting 25 years ago be released from prison? Andy Williams appearing in juvenile court today, months after a judge granted a resentencing hearing.
And News 8's Tori Apodaca live near juvenile court in Birdland to explain why he could be free. Tori?
Yeah, so since Andy Williams' sentencing, a state law has changed for people who were convicted for crimes as an adult for crimes that they committed as a child. Williams's attorney says that as heinous and tragic of a crime that he committed was, he should not be sitting in adult prison at the age of 40. This is Andy Williams back in 2001, age 15, getting taken away after open firing at Santana High School from a bathroom on campus, killing 17-year-old Randy Gordon and 14-year-old Brian Zucker, and injuring 13 others. Williams pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 50 years to life with the possibility of parole. But the resentencing law change for children who committed crimes is not crystal clear because the new law says only people sentenced to life without the possibility of parole are eligible. And Williams' sentence gave that option for parole. In fact, in 2024, he was found unsuitable for release during his parole hearing. But earlier this year, a judge vacated his 50 years to life sentence, where he got emotional as the judge read that. And today at his status hearing, we will find out about his possible resentencing and release. Williams is currently still behind bars where he's been for nearly 25 years now. That hearing is set for 1 p.m. today. Reporting live in San Diego, Tori Apodaca, News 8.
Tori, thank you so much for explaining. And now Vice President J.D. Vance is still in Switzerland this morning after the U.S. and Iran held high-level talks about Tehran's nuclear program. Earlier today, Vice President Vance said the talks set a good foundation to reach a permanent deal to end the war. This comes after Iran said it shut down the Strait of Hormuz to shipping traffic to protest ongoing fighting that's happening in Lebanon between Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah militants. President Trump reacted with expletives during a call with Fox News and warned Iranian officials they would be bombed if they closed the strait. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says it's a real threat, while Democratic lawmakers are criticizing the tough talk and the deal itself.
If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force. And if Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States, we will obliterate them.
This president has led this nation into a disaster. We have surrendered our power, we have capitulated to the enemy, and they now are mocking us.
A new CBS News poll finds most Americans are ready to be done with the war with Iran. 78% of those surveyed said they want the U.S. to end the conflict now. 1 month after the shooting at the Islamic Center of San Diego, community leaders are calling for help, and a new local study shows their concern. The U.S. Immigration Policy Center surveyed more than 300 local Muslims, with 88% saying they feel less safe since the attack. After the shooting, Governor Newsom's office announced $80 million in funding had been awarded to 340 nonprofit faith-based organizations through a grant program. But the Islamic Center of San Diego, or any Muslim organization here in San Diego County, were not among them.
Being denied the grant is a wrong message that we are sending to our taxpayers.
A coalition has sent a letter to the governor requesting $20 million in emergency funding for security upgrades at Muslim institutions throughout San Diego County, as well as culturally informed counseling services for those impacted by the attack. The governor's office tells us that because they are in the midst of the state budget, they cannot comment any further on budgetary items.
This morning, County Supervisor Paloma Aguirre is headed to Sacramento to testify about the South Bay sewage crisis. She will speak in support of a bill that would update California's air quality standard for hydrogen sulfide. The polluted water creates that toxic gas that smells like rotten eggs. The bill, authored by State Senator Steve Padilla, says the current standard for hydrogen sulfide has not been meaningfully updated since 1969. The proposal has passed the state Senate and is headed to the Assembly. And today, the San Diego City Council will discuss a study on the feasibility of establishing public agency to replace SDG&E. The report looks at the potential costs, risks, and opportunities of a municipal utility. No vote is expected, but the council will begin their discussions at 2 p.m. Corey Haim just won his first ever NASCAR Cup Series race at Naval Base Coronado, and it happened after a wreck took out other notable contenders. Haim was able to hold off teammate Tyler Reddick and would go on to win a thrilling finish. It's the first time NASCAR racing happened on a military base, so the big question, could it come back to San Diego?
Are we coming back or are we not coming back? What I can tell you is that we feel like this is a tremendously successful event. Obviously, we want to be respectful that this is an active military base at the same time. This is a great partnership, a great pairing, being the 250th anniversary of the United States Navy, 250th anniversary of the United States of America. You couldn't ask for a better time than this. We would love to return.
All right, so you heard from NASCAR right there. We'll see what the base says about it later on. Tens of thousands of people made their way to Naval Base Coronado for this event. Some people did sit in traffic on the Coronado Bridge. Others, as you see, look at that, a packed ferry.
We drove Friday and we're doing the ferry today. So if you can see the bridge over there, you understand why. We didn't want to get up at 4 in the morning and make that trip over.
We thought about it, but no.
That's some dedicated, right, early risers. Some waited more than 45 minutes for that ferry, but, you know, they were increasing their staffing, and Flagship San Diego put out a message that they knew the demand was high.
Only a couple ways on to Coronado, right?
Yeah, right?
It's yeah. So,
I would love a ferry ride, though. Like that any excuse to get on a boat would be
But then I just
nice.
remembered, like, you still have to get in line for the ferry. So,
Right,
like, no
right.
matter
They're
what,
still
you're
waiting.
You're waiting, and that's the thing is that, I mean, I think they're already kind of pressed on a normal day.
Yeah.
But for a day like NASCAR Day in San Diego and Coronado, I mean, it makes sense that it was a little bit of a trek. It took a while, hours long. So we at least got to enjoy the sunshine all weekend. So if you're waiting in that line, hopefully you had the sunscreen with you. We hope all of you, regardless of where you were, whether it was Coronado or inland valleys or mountains or deserts, the sun was beaming down on us by each afternoon. We did have a little bit of morning cloud cover, and we will have that this morning as well. We've already seen it over the last hour or so. Out the door right now, we're mostly in the 60s. Oceanside is at 62. We've got Mira Mesa at 61 degrees. Chula Vista, downtown San Diego, both at 64 right now. So pretty mild in the overnight stretch. Could be warmer, but we also could be a lot cooler. Our inland valleys at least are in the 50s to kick off the morning. Our coastline still struggling through mid 60s. Here's another live look that we have outside, looking toward La Jolla, west facing. Sunrise was at 5:42. Sunset at 8 p.m. today. We've got over 14 hours of day length. It's one of the longest days of the year. Yesterday was our summer solstice. Now, What we're going to be watching for into the afternoon today is a pretty mild stretch. We've got the sunshine. We right now are seeing that winds are really light, and then going into the afternoon, we'll climb to about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Not too concerning there. When we look at the inland 5-day forecast, the main message of the upcoming week, especially east of the coastline, is that temperatures are going to be climbing for Tuesday and Wednesday. Temperatures stay pretty warm for Thursday and then start to decline Friday through the upcoming weekend. Along the water, it's not going to be all that noticeable of an adjustment. Very minor day-to-day swings there. But inland, you'll see that climb to 87 on average by Wednesday. And then by our upcoming weekend, especially by about Sunday, we'll be on the cooler side of average, mostly in the 70s out there. We'll look at that in the upcoming 7-day forecast. In the meantime, let's check in on traffic. Right now, road conditions are really mild overall. You can see how from the international border all the way up through about Oceanside, we are seeing no major crashes. But we want to take you all the way up to about the Rainbow area where we have an accident on the right shoulder in Fallbrook. So Fallbrook area on the 15 southbound approaching Old Highway 395, stopped traffic all the way back to Palo Road. You can see how speeds are down to about 10, maybe 11 miles per hour leading into it. So pretty extensive delays despite the fact that this has been pushed over to the right-hand shoulder. CHP is on scene working to clear it, helping to improve those speeds once this is completely cleared. But for now, expect some slow going on the southbound lanes of the 15 approaching Old Highway 395. South of that, it's actually a really quiet morning commute out there. This is the northbound 15 and the southbound 15 on the opposite side, just north of Rancho Bernardo, but you got a pretty extensive stretch of backups before you start to enjoy these faster speeds. Let's take a look at your border wait times as well. Right now, we're looking at a 100-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry, about an hour 40 in total. Otay Mesa Port of Entry should get you across a little bit faster, just about 1 hour in total.